Wishing every one of you Happy New Year.
Happy New
We
Year,
begin.
Swamiji.
Thank you. We begin now this webinar 235. This is the second part of a kind of review of a wonderful book that has come out recently. Webinar 233 was in fact the part one of this book review. Therefore, we pick up from where we left, though in between we had webinar 234, and now we are back to Professor Srikumar Rao's book, Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. I must tell you once more that this is a book of 62 articles, nearly 250 pages, and as most wonderful books these days are, or most books these days are, it's available as a hard copy or on Kindle too. Well, I must tell you that what made me very much enjoy reading this book by Professor Rao is the modern expression that he has given to ancient wisdom. Modern wisdom, ancient roots, he says. Once everything is expressed in a modern format, it becomes ancient wisdom expressed as modern wisdom. There is a whole lot of remarks, observations, comments, and straight down to earth advice in this amazing book. A careful study of this can make you and me aware of numerous false values or wrong attitudes or undesirable stances or positions that we take, and because of which we suffer in life. From time immemorial, we have had this kind of wisdom. Those who know Sanskrit have always drawn so much inspiration from a body of verses or shlokas known as Subhashita. Subhashita is tens of thousands of verses drawn from various books. Sometimes we don't know from which book that Subhashita is, but all of that becomes our guiding light. And then there are the spiritual books, there are the religious texts. On the whole, humanity has always derived great amount of inspiration from good literature. And this good literature could be religious or even secular. Professor Srikumar Rao's book is, of course, not a religious book, but the best truths of different religions have been given by Professor Rao in a secular language. Because the difficulty of referring to particular religions, particular spiritual traditions would be some readers would not feel like belonging there. Some readers may have even certain negative reactions when the source is, in this very divided world. The source is seen to be of some faith, some community where the reader may not feel as belonging. So when something is expressed in a totally secular language, where by secular we mean having no relation to any particular religion, people accept it so much better. So with these few general remarks, let me continue with what we did the last time in webinar 233. And I will share, as before, a few simple slides, and that helps us, or they help us, the slides help us as launch pads. So we had seen some 10 slides before. I'm picking up in the 11th slide, again the cover page, front cover of this very good book. And the book review part 2 is made into webinar 235 on the first day of the first month of this year 2023. So we go to a particular statement to begin with. In chapter 24 of his book, which I already said has 62 chapters, some of them are just 2-page articles, some run into 5 pages or so. He talks about the place of gratitude. Gratitude can be a great healing experience. Gratitude can make big difference to the quality of our life. He talks about a certain person, John Kralik, and in fact at the end of that chapter he even gives the full title of the book written by John Kralik, which became apparently a bestseller. But apart from that commercial success, the book by John Kralik gives the details of a great personal transformation that John went through. His real life, his real story. He was doing well as an attorney, that is, a lawyer, and then things started going wrong. His marriage broke, his business went down, his energies were falling, he became obese. One by one, his friends deserted him. He felt that he just was living a life which was not worth living. Oh, what a big tragedy. And that is when, one particular day, it occurred to him, no matter what, my life has not been good, but no matter what, there have been happy moments, though of late very few. There were happy moments, and there were people behind those happy moments. Let me do one thing every day. Let me every day think of somebody who was of help to me in a big way or in a small way, it does not matter, who put a smile on my face. So John Kralik, in those good old days where email, WhatsApp, etc. were probably not so common, he actually wrote a nice letter, one nice letter every day, letter of gratitude. And that book is called, as the title of this slide goes, 365 Thank Yous. And there's a second line to that book's title, the year a simple act of daily gratitude changed my life. So in this particular book, he shares his own life story, this man, John Kralik. And by just sincerely from the bottom of his heart, thanking one person a day by writing that letter, he underwent so many changes in his outlook towards life, and lots of good things happened. Even physically, his obesity vanished. Energy levels rose. He found himself being more proactive than reactive or depressed. So, without going more and more into this particular topic, let me read out two lines from the book. In page 95, after describing the story of John Kralik, how the act of expressing gratitude transformed him, his life, his profession, his relationships, and so many more things. Srikumar Rao gives a philosophical comment. He says, and this is the key, the universe responds automatically and quickly to accommodate the new person you are becoming. You cannot be depressed when you are being appreciative and expressing this sincerely. That's the key. You cannot be depressed when you think of some little help you received from somebody and you fill your heart with appreciation. So, being appreciative and being depressed and angry and making a face cannot go together. So another sentence I took from a previous page, earlier page in the book is in the slide. It's impossible to be both grateful and angry at the same time. Try it. It does not work, says Professor Rao. I remember some 25 years ago, somebody had given me a little book, Prison to Praise, that had a similar message. And it was about somebody who, rightly or wrongly, found himself in jail. That means he was convicted, imprisoned, and so on. And rather than bemoaning his misfortune, he actually, he or she, probably it was she, the lady, she just said, ah, come on, I have cried enough. Now let me go for a change. She praised God for everything, including the wrong indictment, the conviction, and imprisonment, and so on. God, I praise you for bringing me to this jail. I praise you for what happened upon on board the ship last month, which led to several events. I praise you for sending this man who was so discourteous to me. I praise you for causing or bringing about financial loss. For everything, this lady just praised God with all her heart. And amazing things started happening. In miraculous ways, she was also released from the jail and so on. Prison to praise to happy life. This may look like, impossible things. You may think really it may not happen. You think so because you really have never tapped certain possibilities from your own within. This book can help you unlock certain secrets in you which have been with you all the time. So let's see another teaching of Professor Rao. He talks about coping with disaster. And life is full of disasters for everybody, sometimes known to others, sometimes unknown to others. Things go terribly wrong. And it could be at home, it could be at work, it could be in any particular scenario. I chose this out of 100 possible teachings presented in this book because I noticed that Dr. Rao synthesizes the modern topics or contexts with some age old practices. He talks about somebody who was really in tremendous stress. Everything was going wrong at home, and he was both at home and office. He was actually getting torn to pieces as though. And then he actually did something that he had learned from a guru, and that was breath control. Now, you and I, most of whom have studied Sri Ramana Maharshi, his self inquiry, and how Sri Ramana Maharshi advised breathing exercises to calm the mind. When disaster befalls our life, we may feel so torn apart. We can gather ourselves. So, Dr. Rao talks about a practice that can bring calmness to our mind. He says, observe your breath going in, going out. And thereby, he once more you know, emphasizes the spiritual truth. The body and mind are related, mind and breath are related, breath and body are related. These three are such precious, shall we say, faculties, aspects of our being. But most of us do not manage any of these three. Alas, on this open secret, the book has a few words. He gives the exercise in simple, plain language. First, sit upright with both feet on the ground and your spine straight. The book says, page 105. Second, breathe deeply and slowly. Deeply and slowly. Most of the time, we use the top third of our thoracic cavities while breathing. Change this. Continue breathing until you feel your stomach expanding gently, and then feel it collapse as you exhale gently. Expanding gently when you breathe in, and collapse when you breathe out. Abdominal breathing. He has not used the technical word. This is well known in yoga circles and other fitness circles. He says, observe your breath going in, going out, going in, going out, going in, going out. Do this for 2 to 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes. You are amidst such disaster, such calamitous circumstances, but an exercise done for 2 to 3 minutes may not change the circumstances around, but can equip you, can prepare you to deal with the situation far better. Who doesn't want it? Then we see Rao making some insightful statement. There is a lot of penetration into psychology in these chapters. One of the chapters is titled Our Misery is Caused by Resistance. Some of us may not understand. Whose resistance? Resistance to what? What kind of resistance are we talking about? Some of these are very profound truths, but they are not abstract. They are pretty simple, but profound because many of us would not see it generally on our own. When somebody says, is that so? Okay, what is the resistance Dr. Rao talks about? Resistance to the way life is unfolding around us. Resistance to the way life unfolding around us. Since we resist to what is going on around, rather than acting wisely, we react. Act, do not react is a Chinmaya statement. I inserted it here. But coming back to Dr. Rao, he says, can we try to accept instead of resist what comes without trying to make things happen the way we would like them to. In fact, he says with a certain wit, certain uh, sense of humor also. He says, you want people to laugh uproariously at your jokes. Many times nobody laughs at our jokes. Then do you resist? Do you fret and fume? Do you inwardly say, what kind of insensitive people these are? Don't do that. You cracked a joke. People did not laugh, did not even smile. Fine. Accept it. You want people to applaud your speech. All speakers go through this. They expect this audience to applaud. We want, or you want, people to recognize you for the kind, wonderful, generous being you are. So, what goes on in the mind? That they did not recognize you is not the issue. That you threatened and fumed about it. You resisted it. That becomes the issue. One more insight into the psychological mess that we create for ourselves. A chapter 33, is devoted to showing how ambition is actually bad for us. Ambition is bad for you. And he says, when you are ambitious, it may bring some energy into you temporarily. But actually, you're ambitious, you want to become something, you want to reach somewhere, you want to see yourself in a certain way, you want the society to see yourself in a certain way, then you live for a future that may or may not come. And of course, as we have said umpteen times, such teachings are closely connected to Sri Krishna's teaching of karma yoga. Not be attached to the phala. Have a phala in view, that's different, but do not get attached to phala. Mate sangostu akarmani ma phaleshu kadachana. Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu. At a number of places in the Gita, Sri Krishna talks about phalasakti being a thorn in our flesh. Lots of people read Gita, lots of people teach Gita, but very few of them actually follow Sri Krishna's advice because they would not have deeply understood it. Therefore, very few, what they say, very few let go of their attachment to the idea where they want to be, how they want to be, what kind of image they want to build. I go further now. These are some glimpses of this precious literature. And today is January 1st, New Year. The New Year 2023 has begun. And can you believe one of the chapters is titled Why Your New Year Resolutions Fall or Fail. Fail. So, very appropriate as I was quickly skimming through the pages on my Kindle. I said, this I should share with my audience this evening, for it is New Year's Day. On New Year, people make various resolutions. Today onwards, here onwards, for how many days? What? Till December 31st of 2023, I shall do such and such things and I will avoid such and such things. All of us do this, right? So let me read for you a little portion. He says, first of all, why do we fail? We fail, I have written the slide also. We fail repeatedly because We try to bring about profound change in ourselves by an act of willpower. You know, I will do this, I will do that. We determine that we will stop smoking, that we will go to the gym, we will work out, and so on. Even lofty thinkers like J. Krishnamurti have made rather very hard and harsh statement against will. Majority of people would not appreciate that. The literature of self-help books, the vast business, is a big, several billion dollars business, I guess. The nowadays audio version, video version, printed books, and so on. All of them actually make the reader feel that if he decides, if he goes by certain willpower, life will change. And it appeals to people. People are happy to hear your future is in your hands, such statements. Therefore, arise, awake, such statements. They may do a little good to people. I'm not saying nobody should make such statements. But Srikumar Rao is uncompromising. Therefore, I have said this before too. In this book, there is a great amount of depth. You may call it Vedantic depth. There is a great amount of depth of insight into how actually we change. Let me read a paragraph for you from the book. He says, you want to bring about profound change in you, don't make resolutions and, or you may make, but hold them, keep them lightly in your consciousness. I would interpret it that way. So, what is the better way then? That's what I'm going to read now. There is a better way to bring about behavioral change that sticks. Behavioral change that sticks, that stays. There is a surefire way to change your habits. You do it by systematically examining the mental models you hold that cause you to see the world the way you do, and by making changes in them. Friends, spirituality's high peak, spirituality's high point is everywhere, pure awareness. Without being aware of what's going on in me, without being aware of why I overeat or do not eat enough, why I sleep too much or remain restless without taking proper rest, why I drink or smoke or all this, all that. Without understanding it by gentle self awareness, everything else fails miserably. Therefore, continuing with Dr. Rao, as you do this, examining the mental model, you literally become a different person. And the change you seek happens effortlessly as a byproduct. The change you and I seek happens effortlessly as a byproduct if there is enhanced self awareness. But in our hurry, in our agitation, we just want to quickly fix certain things in our way of living. That won't work. So, further, towards the end, he says, I mean, as it proceeds in chapter 52, the title is Ask Yourself a Single Question. That's amazing. When I looked at that title, I said, oh, maybe he is going to bring Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I Here? Because I'm very fond of that. But no, while at places he has actually referred to the Who Am I inquiry. In fact, as I was glancing at the book today on my Kindle, I was pleasantly surprised. He has given glowing tributes to a book about which I spoke in a couple of webinars or other lectures a year or two ago. Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. At a certain page, Dr. Rao says he was so touched by Michael Singer's Michael Singer Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, that several copies he had, and something like how he gifted it to friends, some such thing is there. And at another place, I found that his connections with Eastern wisdom, with Gita, with Vedanta, etc., is visible. In one place, he in fact explicitly mentions the name of one Vedanta teacher whom some of us had met, some of us had learned from, and many of us know about him. That is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Swami Dayananda Saraswati appears in a certain page in this book. It seems Swami Dayananda Saraswati, who was with the Chinmaya Mission for 33 years, 1950 to 1983. He was one of the founders of Chinmaya Mission, that is guided, inspired by Swami Chinmayanandaji. Three people in Chennai um, formed the Chinmaya Mission. Mr. Natarajan was one of them, who later became Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So let me quickly mention how Dr. Rao says Swami Dayananda Saraswati in his lectures shared something which he quotes in the book. Dayanandaji went to some house, and the Indian housewife or homemaker offered a wonderful traditional meal, and there were many items, and there was this bitter gourd, Karela, Hagalkai. So bitter gourd, and bitter gourd, many of us avoid. It's bitter. We take a little, and then it was there on the plate or maybe on the banana leaf. And Dayanandji, it seems, looked at it. Inwardly, he felt, oh my, I have to eat this. But then he thought, let me do one thing. Let me finish it first. Then I will enjoy what I like. There are delicious items. So he finished the Karela bitter gourd item first. The lady of the house thought he likes it a lot. She again put some more. He finished that also. It became so difficult for him. This perhaps is a well-known story, but now there is a twist to the story as I read it in Dr. Rao's book. I believe Dr. Swami Dayanandji went to some other place and the word had spread. He likes bitter gourd. So that lady also had made bitter gourd preparation. And he said, in Hindi, there is a word musibat. Oh, what a plight I have gone into. Somehow they all think that I like bitter gourd, which I don't. The twist in the story, as narrated by Dr. Rao, is Swami Dayanandji, who after all was a great Vedanta scholar, a pious person, a spiritually advanced person, he just thought about it. What shall I do now? More and more places they are going to serve bitter gourd to me. And then Dayanandji decides, no, let me examine what makes me dislike it. It's a mental model. Let me examine whether this dislike is bound to be in me, or if I sort of question myself, it can turn into like. So he tried to work on his own attitude. He enjoyed, he accepted, he continued to accept bitter gourd wherever it was served. And the reference ends with a very encouraging note. Over a length of time, Swami Dayanandji began to like bitter gourd. He said, I'm so fond of bitter gourd, really now. So that actually came, I should have mentioned it before. I had taken the topic. Our misery is caused by resistance. So initially, when bitter gourd was served, inwardly, Swami Dayanandji had resistance. Later, he accepted. And there was a change in his maybe body chemistry or the way his tongue would respond, right? So now coming to this particular single question, not who am I, but let me tell you, uh, single question. Yes. Um, that single question, as this slide shows, is in number of situations, stop being mechanical. Ask yourself, do I? Do I is the question. So, do I want to really go there? Do I really want this in my life? We say no to somebody. We better ask ourselves, do I really want to say no to this lady, this man who is making a small request, but out of some bad mood, I'm saying no, come some other day. If we examine, if we double check, you know, some wrong no could be replaced by a gentle yes. Oh, all right, please come, take a seat. I'll attend to you in half an hour. So you finish whatever you're doing. Do her job also for 5 minutes. Our time management will improve a lot if we ask ourselves, do I really want to say no? Or out of a bad habit of mine, out of likes and dislikes, ragadvesha. I said no to X, Y, and Z. And again, out of ragadvesha, I went head over heels to say yes to A, B, or C. Lot of our accepting or rejecting, opposing or cooperating are so mechanical. So let me read a few lines. Ask yourself sincerely, do I really want to go there? It's okay if you do for any number of reasons, but do so consciously. Do so consciously and mindfully, not mechanically. In other words, to take control of life, we need to take control of the way our mind works. We have pampered our mind. We have made our mind act mechanically like a machine. Dr. Rao says, if you do this questioning, single question, do I really? Do I? Sometimes halfway also you can, like somebody called you for, eating out somewhere. You actually want to do some work. But habitually you said, oh yes, yes, I will be there. But in fact, before they come to pick you up, you have to ask, do I really want to go this evening to eating out and then waste 2 or 3 hours? I think I answered mechanically. So by the time they come, without telling a lie, you may say, sorry, please excuse me. I later found that there is some very urgent work. 9 out of 10 times, people will not. They may be a little disappointed. So Dr. Rao says, if you do this earnestly for any length of time, there will be changes in the books you read. Yes, do I really want to read this book? Do I want to really watch this YouTube video? In fact, I must admit before you, so even some 2 or 3 months ago, I used to watch many videos on WhatsApp fully, thinking that it is entertainment, but there's some educative value also. So I let me. But then I without reading this from Dr. Rao's book, I started asking myself, do I want to watch this 11-minute video because it has some educational content or there may be some matter which comes handy in my work? Do I want to watch all the 11 minutes? Then my mind said, no, all 11 minutes are not enough. In many videos which come to us, which may have some educational value, if you watch 2 or 3 minutes, you got the matter. The rest of it sometimes is repetition. The rest of it is sometimes more examples and more details. Why waste our time? So Dr. Rao says rightly, if you do this, ask yourself the single question, do I really? Do I really want this in my life? Do I really want to go there? And so on. You will find there will be changes in the books you read, the movies you watch, the people you hang out with, the topic of conversation you bring up with people you hang out with, and much more. In 100 things, that one question, not out of reaction. There are some people who are ready to help. Then they ask themselves, should I help this man? I better help myself. That is going wrong way. By asking yourself the question, do I have to help this person? If mechanically you take the more selfish option, and there you better ask that question. Do I have to say no to him? So question your no, question your yes to. And last slide. In the last slide, I am actually sharing with you what is uh, in the book, the last chapter. The 60-second chapter gives a very interesting and very deep insight to us. And it's so Vedantic. And it says, see, we call a lot of things Vedantic. A lot of things which we just hastily call Vedantic are not really Vedantic. But this is real Vedanta. I'll tell you how. So, the title of the last chapter of this book is You Are Not Going Anywhere. And in his powerful language, he says, when you acknowledge that, hey, I'm so restless all through the day. Hey, I find myself hurrying. I myself agitated. I find myself worried. I might find myself judging myself. Oh, I messed up my day. I messed up my week. What is all going on? You know, do you have to go anywhere? You are not going anywhere. So Rao gives the example of a hamster on a wheel. The little, hamster which looks like a mouse. There's an animal called hamster. A lot of people keep this hamster in their homes, especially children like it a lot. There's a hamster and they feed and that's like pets. This is also a pet. But one of the things the hamster is made to do is go up a wheel, but the wheel slides again. The hamster again and again finds itself not reaching anywhere. Likewise, a lot of even well-read people, well-educated people find that they have been living a meaningless life filled with unfulfilling action. What one needs to do is to understand that that kind of hurting oneself by judgments is very unhealthy. Yes, try to live an active life, but do not imagine that I must become this, I must reach there, otherwise my life is a waste. That judgments, and you are yourself, be yourself. In the Vedanta, it is not said Tattvam Bhavishyasi, it is said Tattvam Asi. This is my input, but I'll read 2 lines. He says that kind of meaningless life can be turned around. He says, turn it around. Do the activity to the best of your ability, but give up the attachment to any particular outcome. You worked a lot, but somebody else who worked half as much got recognition. Smile at the situation. You worked more than him, maybe. You worked more than her. Give up the attachment to the outcome. Your mind says, I should have been famous. I should have been recognized. I should have been honored. You did good work. That is itself a reward. The result you want may appear or it may not. Focus on enjoying the activity and doing it to the best of your ability. Your life will improve. You will be a hamster on the wheel that is having a rip roaring time. You know, suppose this hamster gets a little wise. I guess some of them are. They are wiser than human beings. They play, they make it a play. They try to go out they slip and fall down. They don't reach anywhere because that wheel rotates. They are again down. And a wise hamster, thoroughly enjoys it. It knows that I will never be able to reach some higher place. Who cares? I don't need to reach any higher place. I am enjoying this exercise. I am enjoying, you know. Let me conclude with what he shares. An alumnus of one of his programs challenged him, it seems. And that alumnus, old student, said, Professor Rao, the hamster is not trying to go somewhere. He is simply exercising and having a fun time. That is how Dr. Rao concludes the chapter 2. Can you and I, no matter whether we are into some big projects or some small projects, doesn't matter. In all that we do, inwardly, can we look at it all as an exercise and we are having fun time. As Swami Anubhavanandaji says, Mauj mein raho. It has great depth, but we hope everybody understands it in the right spirit. So, with this, the webinar ends, and I hope all of you will get a chance to read this book and derive certain clarity on life's issues. Om Namah Shivaya.